Well, it's really easy to be hard on ourselves. Sometimes we need some nice trans affirmation. And that's what this is. 10 minutes of trans affirmation, or however long I record, most likely 10 minutes. Trans affirmation is important because, of course, all trans people are valid. All of them. From the ones that knew when they were little kids, to the ones that figured it out as adults, to the ones that want surgery, to the ones that don't want surgery, and the ones that have had surgery. All valid. I know we like to focus on stereotypes and ideal beauty standards and this and that and that and this, but I think what's important while you listen to this is to know that you, yes you, are valid. You're allowed to be trans. You're allowed to say proudly you're trans. I know some situations don't allow it, but know that I believe in you. I think you're important. I think you're brave. And when I say you're brave, I mean in the way of doing things despite being scared. Not in the not being scared way, because that doesn't exist. I get scared. I get scared all the time. I mean, being trans is kind of hard sometimes, but it's also a really beautiful thing when you think about it. I mean, isn't it so cool that we live in a time period where people can just transition in so many parts of the world? I hope one day it's all of it. I believe one day it will be all of it. Thing is, transition isn't easy. However, no matter how much of it you've done, or how little of it you've done, I still believe in you. I want you to know that there's light at the end of the tunnel and it'll all be worth it. You don't have to be a certain standard of woman, whatever that means. Not even cis women can meet the standards set by society. The standards set are very biased. Yeah. At least in the Western world, beauty standards are so heavily white-centric, skinny-focused, certain hobbies, certain mannerisms. These kind of ideals aren't sustainable for all people. We're all different, after all. That doesn't make us lesser, that doesn't make us worse, it just makes us different. And the world's obsessed with stigmatizing different. That's why we have so many movies about why it's okay to be yourself. Even if those movies weren't directly talking to you, just know that in a sense it kind of did. You deserve to be yourself. I can't know what you go through. There may be something I miss. But if you clicked on this, the only things I can really assume are that you're trans and you're a trans girl, trans woman, whatever term you prefer. I can only assume that simple core concept of who you might be. You might like all sorts of hobbies. You could be a ballet dancer, you could be a weightlifter, you could be anything in between. You can still be a girl, and you're really valid as a girl. The world likes to say otherwise. However, the world does the same thing to cis women. Society loves to put women in certain boxes, and they love debating their ability to have control of their own bodies. Society's really mean like that. The struggles of women in general, trans women can of course relate to. Society tries to tell you what to be. And if you say you're a woman and people try to deny you, well, it's pretty ridiculous because you're experiencing something that so many cis women can relate to, just in a different way. Me saying that, though, isn't mean to validate trans men, though. Trans men face lots of challenges, and the way society deems masculinity can make things tough for them too. Similar to how for us trans women, expectations of femininity can really restrict us. And chances are you might have experienced at least a little bit or a long time where you had to live as a gender you didn't feel like was you, you know? And the thing is, that life experience is hard to deal with sometimes, but it does have positives. It does open our perspectives and makes it easier to have empathy to others. None of us should have had to go through being someone they're not. However, we can't change that. We can change the future, and that's about it. But you have the power to change that future. Whatever you have to do. Whether you have to get out of certain social circles, family, maybe even just where you live. I'm not saying that's easy. It never is. But, you know, I think you're really brave. I think you're really beautiful. And I think you're really valid. And I think when the world sees the woman that's inside shine brightly in front of everyone, that will mean so much to both you and the people around you. There will be hate, but there will also be love and acceptance. It kind of gives you a speed run tactic to figure out who you should hang out with. It's a pretty good stress test. I'm not saying being trans is easy, but being trans is... living as a trans woman is easier than pretending to be someone else. Sure, maybe cis men have lots of privilege, lots of things that make it easier for them. However, if you're trans, even if you try to live as a boy, you won't have all the privileges of a cis man. That's just not reality, you know? And I think what's important is knowing that the focus should be what makes you happy. When you make that choice of whether to live as a cis man or live as a trans woman, that isn't really the way to frame the decision. If you happen to be a trans girl, and you know that inside, and it's okay if you're not sure yet, but if you think that's the right thing for you, I don't recommend pretending to be someone else. I'm just a voice on the internet. I could never tell you how to live. It'd be kind of ridiculous to assume an audio track could tell you how to live. However, I want this to open up the chance to think of the possibility. If you like the thought of living as a girl, maybe you already are and you're really enjoying it, and that's okay. It's also okay if living as a woman is really hard. There's some things we learn early on that no one really warns you about. But I think there's something empowering about doing the things you love as a gender you feel more comfortable as. It opens up a lot. And you deserve those things. You deserve all those things. You deserve every happy emotion that exists in this world. Whatever kind of woman you want to be, know that you are that woman. Just because people can't see something doesn't mean it's not real. That'd be nonsense. What is important is that you deserve to live the way you want to. Okay? I understand that I figured it out kind of early and I'm kind of a living stereotype. The kind that is brought upon other people that maybe makes them doubt themselves. I don't want that to be what my voice is used for. Instead, I want it to be used to tell you that if I can transition, so can you. So can anyone. Anyone's allowed to. You don't need permission from anyone, even if the law tries to make you, get permission. But point still stands. Point is, if you feel better as a girl, then be a girl. Enjoy wonderful, wonderful things as the gender that you always wanted to be. The gender, in truth, you always were. We may not know why people are transgender. We don't know what causes it. However, pondering that instead of just enjoying the time we have, well, not the most productive use of our time, is it? So what does it matter? The reason why we are like this? What difference does it make? If something in our brain makes us trans, or something in our body, or something based on genetics or something, maybe our social upbringing, what does it really matter? I mean, there's all sorts of things that we end up being because of social circumstance, like your hobbies, your interests. Yet, we don't overly analyze that. And as a little kid, I got into drawing really early because there was drawing tools there. Those pencils, those pens, those paper. I had access to a lot of paper because my parents did office work. If that wasn't there, I wonder if I'd still like drawing. However, maybe instead of pondering that, I should just enjoy drawing. If it's something that makes me happy, then I'll keep drawing. Sure, maybe another hobby would have happened if something was there, but I am who I am. And you are you. And for whatever reason, we can both relate to being trans. We don't know why we are trans necessarily, but in our hearts we know we are. And it's okay if that's who you think you are, because that's who you are. Only you can decide these things. Don't let family, friends, or me, a random voice on the internet, tell you who to be. Instead, be yourself. Okay? Yeah. You don't need to fit stereotypes. You don't need surgery to be allowed to be a woman. There are plenty of cis women that are classified as cis women that can't give birth, or maybe they're intersex and don't have the ability to do the kind of things that different parts down there would do. But the world still classifies them as cis in some cases. Because at the end of the day, it's kind of just labels, huh? If you feel better as a girl, you can be a girl. You don't need surgery. But if you want surgery, that's okay too. You can do whatever you want to do. There's lots of surgeries. And you can do as many or as little or none if you want. I don't know if I'll get it someday, the bottom surgery. But I think regardless of what decision I make, I'm still a girl. I go to the shops, I dress up, I look cute. I am living as a girl. Who would see that part of my body anyway? You know? It doesn't stop me from being me. And in relation to whenever you figured out you're trans, or even if you're still figuring out if you're trans, it's okay. Even if you figured it out super young like me, or maybe if you figured it out about the age I am now, or maybe you happen to be older than me, and you figured it out then, and that's okay. Different circumstances allow us to figure out things quicker or slower. There's so many factors. There's so many. I figured it out young, but I didn't get to act on it till a bit later. Because I guess people in 2012 weren't ready for that kind of thing. Yeah, but the world's a bit better now. Just know, even when bad things happen, trans people stick together. Community is important. You don't have to only hang out with trans people. That'd be ridiculous. Just hang out with who you want to hang out with. If they happen to be cis or trans, cool. Just know that when you need it, trans community does have your back. And if you meet people that don't have your back, then find the people that do. Find the people that love and support you. Find the people that understand you. Because there's a lot of things to understand. And those things should be understood. If there's any takeaway from this quick affirmation track, is that you are valid. You're allowed to be a trans woman. You don't need surgery to be trans. But you can want it, and that's okay. You don't have to be the very embodiment of femininity. You can be a bit of a tomboy and still be a girl if you want. You can be somewhere in the middle. You can mix and match. It's fine. You don't have to figure it out young. It's okay if you figure it out later. And also if you happen to figure out young, that's okay too. We're all important. Our importance isn't determined by such arbitrary things. There's only one thing that is important. How you feel in your heart. If you think you'd be happier as a girl, then try living as the girl you see inside. And if you already are doing that, I hope you keep it up if it makes you happy. At the end of the day, if we're trans on the inside, our choices are to express it or suppress it, to hide it. Sometimes we don't get to pick our gender. It's kind of a thing we just feel. In some cases, people do get to choose. It's really just what you feel. And you get to choose how you act on it. I'm just a voice on the internet. I'm just any other trans girl. And I guess it could be anywhere. And I know that I would have loved to hear the voice of a trans woman tell me the simple words, "It's okay. You're allowed to be a girl. Of course you're allowed to be a girl. You are a girl. No matter how you look, no matter how you sound, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter your life experiences, your hobbies, your interests, no matter what life you've had before, even if it's different, even if it's something you want to hide, even if it's the kind of life that some would view as contradictory to what you want to do now, doesn't matter. Just be yourself. If you be yourself, then we can make the future better for ourselves. How we do that exactly, well, I suppose it's up to you. That's not for me to decide. Years and years ago, I made a really tough decision. A decision to be a girl. I always was a girl. So I guess the decision was more choosing to let the world see who I am. It led to some friendships breaking down. It led to some disapproval. I even got sent to the principal's office a couple of times for trying to be myself. Don't let roadblocks stop you, okay? It's just opposition. It can't actually stop you. The one thing that'll always be there is who you are. No one can take that from you. I want you to know that you're loved and you're safe. And there's so many people out there to talk to if you need help. From counselors to other trans people to support groups to everything. You're not alone in this. That'd be crazy. No, there's actually millions of us when you think about it. The world's a big place. If you've ever typed into a search bar, "Can I be trans if," and then you typed something after that, the answer is probably yes. It's okay to be trans if anything. If you think it would make you feel better, or it feels like the best way to go forward, then that's all that matters. Dysphoria is rough, but euphoria is the most empowering thing to ever exist. And you deserve to feel it and to finally see the world through eyes that feel like your own. A body that feels like your own. You deserve to just do what makes you happy. Okay? Whoever you are, I want you to know. From this anonymous trans girl on the internet, who is a very random trans girl. I'm just any trans girl. I just happen to make these kind of audios. People like me are around you. In my day-to-day life, I don't tell people I'm trans very often. But I still am trans. This is my way to express that. And to most people that know me, I'm just any other cis girl. But I'll always be a trans girl. But that's still a girl. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. Wherever you are in the world. Yes, wherever you are in the world. Whether it's a really progressive country, a very conservative country, maybe a country I haven't heard of. Wherever you are, wherever, whenever you're listening to this, even if it's far beyond into the future, and this audio is used for historical purposes for some reason. Even if this audio is so old that I'm not around, centuries and centuries in the future. Whatever trans person is listening to this, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, you deserve to be who you are. However you express it, however you explain it, however you do it, I just want you to do it in a way that makes you happy. And I understand that this is not a 10-minute affirmation like I promised. It's nearly been half an hour. This is what I get for not scripting these. But I hope this helped. If you're listening to this to sleep, I hope you have a good night. If you're listening to this as background noise while doing homework, building something in Minecraft or something, or just playing anything, I hope it helped. Be relaxing. There's all sorts of reasons. Maybe if you're like me and have tinnitus, maybe like listening to stuff to block that out. If so, I'm glad I could help. I guess how I want to end this is that you deserve to be you, and you deserve to be remembered for who you are. There are people out there that will love you. Promise. And if you happen to not have anyone on your side right now, I know I don't know you directly. I know I never will, in a way. But I want you to know that I do believe in you. Okay? From the bottom of my heart, for all the things I've experienced, from all the things I'm yet to experience, I know that both you and me will figure it out. And take it from me, it does get better. It also gets hard, but dang does it get better. I actually feel really alive ever since I started transition. I felt a sense of joy I didn't know I was capable of. A sense of happiness I thought I lost. Puberty can feel like such a curse when it's not the one you want. But when you transition the way you want to, the curse becomes lifted, and you get to be the beautiful woman that you always wanted to be. The beautiful woman you always were. And the little girl version of yourself, even if she didn't know it yet, would be really proud of you. I just know it. Even if you disagree, I think somewhere in her heart, she'd think you're pretty incredible. Thank you for listening. Stay hydrated and know that you are valid and always will be.